everybody. Welcome. It's the last day of the regular season. Toasty wanted to run play-by-play, and he forgot that includes hosting duties. So I guess I'll intro us. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Joss. We've got the Penguin Pajama Party facing off against the beautiful Mutant Sausages. We have seating on the line, which is always going to be fun. So we definitely have some stakes tonight. We may see some fun. I've heard that there's some potential Blitzcrank top or some Blitzcrank jungle. I don't know. There's probably going to be Blitzcrank. Toasty, how you feeling about tonight's matchup?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. All across the board, especially last week, coming off of the game versus the beautiful Mutant Sausages. They were tough. They were actually a really good team. Even with talking to Control about just how little these guys practice, I feel like if they did actually put in some time, like these guys can be a really big force to mess with on the TCL stage. But I am really excited to see, especially the bot lane matchup, kind of just getting right into the nitty gritty here of Ryoklu Espen versus Speedy IREP. I mean, Speedy IREP, they're the boys, right? They're the boys that'll pull off the weirdest things, like Exhaust Ignite Tom Kench bot lane, with some sort of Zeri going the weirdest build imaginable. So it'll be really fun to see how these guys play it out, and expecting right off the bat here, probably going to be bans at Control.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. We are right into Champions like LeBlanc ban aimed at Control. I do believe, as you said, LeBlanc actually just got buffed recently. So, and Control is known for assassins. Actually, he's kind of known for everything. He can kind of play everything. Probably going to have 5 bans leveled at him, if not more, because as you know, sometimes you just have more bans. Actually, first pick, but anyway, all jokes aside, yeah, definitely going to see the Urgot ban being targeted at Sir Aaron, and that is the matchup that I'm really looking at, since Music been playing a lot of Renekton, and he's been fairly successful on it. But with Sir Aaron, once he seems to be taken off of his kind of go-to carry picks, he's definitely struggled a little bit. So kind of see if they're going to continue to do that. And it looks like, yes, they have a very clear strategy, and it is to get Sir Aaron on a pick he's not as comfortable on, as Mordekaiser is taken off. Orianna and Renata, one of those IREP champions, kind of a more IREP not known for his traditional supports, but Renata being one of those traditional supports. But considering how weird she is and how kind of off, just different she is, I'm not surprised. Although we saw a pretty hotly contested debate around the Roa pick, since he was running Roa with Renata.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to touch up on here. I actually don't think Renata, in that sense, building the Rod of Ages Anathema's Chains, I don't think it's actually warranted a ban here. I feel like you kind of actually want him to pick that Renata. Yes, the ult is annoying. Yes, the anti-death spell,
the don't die button, so to speak.
Yeah, the don't die button can also be really annoying. In that case, playing against it last week, it kind of felt like it kind of did bare minimum. So right off the bat here, Zach being taken away for Spurg, a classic Spurg champion. The Swain getting picked up automatically on R1. That could go top, that could go mid, that could go bot, and that could go support.
I think it's going mid. So I've seen Control play, I believe I've seen Control play the Swain before. Although, yeah, as you said, IREP plays literally everything and anything. It could be a Swain train in the bottom lane, as we see Senna being grabbed. And you were talking actually about, I don't know if it was being talked about in public channels, so we should probably hold off on what the Senna would be paired with. But the Senna pick, this is something we saw IREP in the bottom lane really work well off of, because he does a lot of kind of bizarro boys like Scion and other tanks in the bottom lane. So it really kind of unlocks his pool, as we see Morgana being grabbed. That's likely going to be an Espen support. So we're already seeing what the Penguin Pajama Party wants to do. And to also follow up on the Renata pick you had mentioned, as we see Aphelios. So we are looking at a super scaly kind of hyper carry from Ryoklu, and that is a gauntlet being thrown down in the bottom lane. They are saying, "Come at me, bro! I'm gonna carry this lane, and I'm gonna carry the game."
Yeah, this is a really interesting pick by Ryoklu, because automatically my mind going into this says, "Hey, Caitlyn is pretty good here." Caitlyn allows you to have the trap set up. have the E for escaping when things get hairy. Obviously, you have the really long attack range that is not conditional. When you're playing a champion like Aphelios, obviously you have to be very, very considerate of the gun rotation. It's one of my favorite topics in League, debating what guns are best in what scenarios. For Aphelios, as we see the Darius ban come out as well. But to note, the Tom Kench, right? The one thing that Senna is paired with a lot has not been banned yet. And I feel like if you are Penguin Pajama Party, you have to take that away, because now it adds even more extra safety, and also the fact that while Swain is in ult and he gets eaten by Tom Kench, that ult on the Swain is still going. So probably would be in their favor to ban the TK, especially with the Senna. I mean, the scaling is going to be out of this world. Mythical Sausages, they're looking at it as the Syndra gets taken away here as well. This is probably just the biggest TK angle of all time.
Yeah, so not the 6 bans against Control, 5 bans plus first pick, but four bans directed at him. And, as you mentioned, anything that can provide additional protection for whatever Speedy's champion is, although he may be running the Senna, you never know, right? We've seen, I believe we've seen IREP run Senna in the past, and we've seen, there's the TK. Okay, so it's probably going to be IREP Tom Kench with the Senna, with Speedy on Senna, which means that Swain likely going mid. We didn't really talk about the Amumu, but it's Tiny Rec or Microsoft Brick. We're probably going to see Microsoft Brick on a tank in the jungle. That's the Amumu. The real question, though, is what are they going to pick in response? They do have both solo lanes still available. The Renekton is being hovered. Music has been playing that a lot, so it potentially getting taken away from him. And the last minute Garen grab. Garen's really strong right now, and does super well into a lot of Music's pool. So Music potentially going back into, kind of his classic tanks, and then we've got the mid lane pick coming up for A-Barn.
Yeah, I mean, Music, please pick Ornn. I mean, it's the freest game of Ornn of all time here. I mean, take a look at that composition, the front to back, as we see the classic A-Barn Azir coming in. So a lot of scaling tools on the side of Penguin Pajama Party, but on the opposite side, you have that Senna that's just staring you down already with the green eyes. Another thing I wanted to note with Speedy on Senna is what this guy's going to build, because this guy has some of the wackiest AD carry builds that I've ever seen. And it's funny, as the Jax comes through, the Senna champ really has lethality build or this Stormrazor crit build going around. So I'm excited to see what he's going to end up doing, but I would rather be on the Mythical Sausages draft. I'm going to be honest here. IREP is an incredible Tom Kench. We actually played it in Clash last night, Steve, and it went well, to say the least.
It went well. Awesome. And we've got, looking on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, they have a lot of options, right? They have a lot of versatility. They have pick potential with the Morgana and the Zac. They have a lot of peel. I mean, the Shurima Shuffle can definitely pick things off. They've got a split push option with the Garen. So they've definitely got a lot of different options. But the one thing is whether they can be on the same page of what they want to do, right? Do they want to go for a hard dive and a chase down? Do they want to go for a counter engage? Do they want to go fishing? There's going to be a lot that they're going to need to do. And as a heads up, if any of y'all would like to give us your opinions about these teams, feel free to jump at the Armchair Analyst desk, hang out with us on the Spectator delay. But on the other side, and looking at the beautiful Mutant Sausages, I agree. This is a nasty team. The one thing is that they really got to get going. And I'm a little nervous about that Jax in the top lane. If I recall, Music had a bit of a rough time with his early game with the Jax the last time he played it, and kind of surprised he didn't opt into one of his go-to picks that he's had a lot of success on. As you said, the Ornn, that would have been, freest lane of your life, scales well, free gold, free items, and then even the Renekton, right? Garen is tough because he can kind of sustain through Renekton's rotations if he's left alone. But yeah, there's There's definitely some risks on both sides, but I agree with you. I think Beautiful Mutant Sausages have just a really, really nasty team, and it's going to be really hard for Aphelios to shred through it. That being said, there's a lot more damage, a lot more threats on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, which is something that we haven't seen as much before. We were seeing kind of like a 1.5 threat, maybe 2 threat. Now they have some serious deeps to back up the beefcakes, and then with the Magrana CC, you can't really go wrong. So I think there's a lot more going on with the Penguin Pajama Party. But yeah, I agree. Beautiful Mutant Sausages, their post 30 minutes is terrifying.
Yeah, and that's another thing too that I kind of wanted to touch up on here. Spurg's Lilia was very open in this draft, and they opted for the Zac, something that gives a little bit more dive, gets into the back line. Obviously, Abar Nazir can follow that up with the Shurima Shuffle, and then from there, it's pretty much can you protect the Aphelios? But again, the massive control, no pun intended, that the Mutant Sausages have in this composition, just the amount of zone control is insane, right? You have the Swain ultimate, you have the Amumu ultimate, you have the spacing with Senna. If somebody gets on Senna, you have the TK ultimate. And obviously you got that Jax that's probably going to be splitting against the Garen, which I don't believe that Garen actually ends up winning out, and I believe the Jax will be better in team fights regardless. So it'll be really interesting. Being a big Aphelios buff, I'm really excited to see Ryoklu pull it out. She's pulled it out in the past. Probably saw that I was on cast, said, all right, let's actually show Toasty how to get it done, how to play it correctly.
Okay. Hey, you never know, right? The stranger things have happened. Yeah, and I don't know. I actually got to disagree. I think in the top side, I actually think Saren's got the edge. Garen's kind of one of the one thing is if the Q can get baited out, because I believe it's an on hit, right? So I believe it can be blocked by his E. So right. That's a consideration, as well as we are into the loading screen. Toaster, who do you think is going to take this one?
It's probably going to be, you know what? I'm on Copium. It's the Penguin Pajama Party. These guys really need this win, right? We're talking about playoffs, right? This is the final match before playoffs. We're talking about how seeding is incredibly important going into it with that side selection clause. And, I mean, if you're Penguin Pajama Party, you are incredibly hungry for this win. Going into the playoffs, you want that momentum. You want to be able to say, hey, we're going into playoffs with a win. We're definitely taking a look at, some of these compositions here. I want to say these compositions, especially from the Mutant Sausages, a little experimental, right? We haven't really seen Speedy on Senna, right? We've seen IREP on TK before. Want to note, by the way, Grasp of the Undying as well on IREP. Everything looks pretty normal, and all runes as well. But yeah, talking about that momentum coming in, very, very important going into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other side of that is the fact that both of these teams are actually showing some of these compositions before the big dance. So there's definitely... All right, no problem. So yeah, we have a minor amount of thing. Actually, nothing y'all need to worry about. We see a 5-point and potentially a Jax and Garen just waving at each other. Sometimes we'll see some shenanigans with Jax and a brush. But we see just a little bit of a thwack from Control to Abarn, but just kind of pretty standard fare as we go into this. Wow, the disrespect we saw last time. I believe Verd. They let Verd make cookies last time. Not so much.
No, there's a little scuffle in the mid lane though. Espen actually did get the bind there onto Control, a huge advantage already, and then as another route comes out onto the Senna, it's looking pretty good. The E pull back from Swain. And no problem. We do know that the stream is currently offline at the moment. The feed, I'm trying to give you guys everything that we are currently seeing that's happening live. But what you guys need to know is that Control is pretty much down a pot. And is down at least.
Hey, Toasty, just before you keep going, and I just wanted to double check with our producer that we are still live. All right, okay. We are still live. Fantastic. So y'all, feed is dead. We're going radio on this thing. 2 minutes into the game, 3K each. We've got some slap happies back and forth, but no summoners burned outside of the occasional smite. And we will let you know when we are back online with the visuals. But we do see a binding going down from Espen onto IREP. Really, really strong trading Ryoklu and Speedy about 50%. Both supports across the bot lane, supports and AD carries at about 50% health. Wave pushing slightly in favor of IREP and Speedy, but Ryoklu going in. Espen following to IREP getting incredible. That's going to be first blood in favor of Ryoklu. The red-blue combination paying off as we approach the 2 minutes, 40 seconds, 500 gold lead on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, Toaster. All right, and we got visuals, y'all. Here we go.
Woo! We did it! Yeah, you know, it's funny. I said I was going to be play-by-play, but my feed seems to be a little bit behind. The first blood actually came in a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, rather, a couple seconds later, so I'm happy to fill in on the color side. But yeah, I mean, take a look at that 2v2 down there in the bot lane. Ryoklu getting the better half of it already. You definitely want that Aphelios to be scaling. And one thing I definitely wanted to touch note on here as well is Espen hit like 3 Qs in a row. Espen made that play happen, which is something that, you know, Espen's been kind of a quiet player in a lot of these series on the Penguin Pajama Party, not really making, honestly, the best of plays, but right there, that's definitely what you want to happen there.
Oh, yeah, we see a 3v2 situation in the top side. Flash over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. Sir Aaron getting the first kill on that Garen. That's what he wants, and he's going to be able to get that snowball rolling in the top side.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful stuff there from the Penguin Pajama Party. Another lead going in the favor of them. Sir Aaron now up a kill, up 1 CS, 2 CS. It's looking pretty good. Wave shoving in top. Going to be bouncing a little bit. Could be looking for a reset here. As more scuffles in the bot lane, Espen lands another Q. Once again, take a look at that trading right there. They're absolutely killing it in this lane.
Yeah, they really are. And yeah, the hard push coming up from Ryoklu and Espen looking very, very different than they did last week, which is always a good thing as we see Rick rolling in, but he is actually going to get spotted out by a pink ward. Great placement by Espen, making sure that he keeps his lane safe as we see Abarn getting a little bit low on mana and getting pushed under his turret by Control and just completely poked out. Control just thoroughly enjoying this early matchup on Swain. CS is even, and the top side roam from Abarn garnering him a oh boy, as we see in the bot lane, almost a connected binding. And yeah, as you said, Espen really being locked in on those bindings and landing a lot as we see a channel knock up on the side of Ryoklu. Ryoklu's going low. Ignite does land, but the rest of the team is there. Rick missing the binding and the flash coming in. Oh, flash a little too late, and Ryoklu goes down. Speedy getting the kill. That's a tragedy.
Yeah, Ryoklu trying to really play on the edge there, not flashing until the very last second. Not exactly what you want to see at all. Fortunately, now we see Spurg helping Abarn clear the mid lane. Yeah, I mean, that flash there, I mean, I can understand what Ryoklu is trying to do, right? Obviously, you're trying to see, yeah, okay, maybe I'll actually end up getting out, but definitely the flash had to come out. Though, as we now see as well, just want to keep tabs on the items because Speedy did just get a kill. It is a Tear of the Goddess Senna fasting right here. So the scaling is going to be even more immense with the Senna if they can get to late game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what we were expecting, right? The fasting Senna scale in the late game. I mean, I was seeing some jokes in the chat about how wait 45 minutes and Penguin Pajama Party will be ready to go. But I gotta say, there's some pretty solid scaling on the side of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages when you have, you know, Jack, Swain, Senna. So they're not looking so bad themselves as Control looking to do some dropping in the top side. Sir Aaron just trying to be as much of a bully as he can with that kill advantage, grabbing some early components. Sheen being finished on the side of Music, but in the bot side, that really seems to be where the action is, as well as a lot of the jungle attention. Something we really haven't seen quite yet outside of that top side skirmish is where Spurg is going, as we see in the top side. Watching some hits, but in the top side, it is definitely just Brawl City as Sir Aaron and Music are spinning to win, respectively.
I mean, we're definitely playing Brawl Stars in top lane, that's for sure. Both of these guys going at it, trying to get trades wherever they can. Obviously, if you're Jazz, you want that grass procs, as many as you can get. 10 CS lead up in top as well. And I did also want to mention, Jaws, something that is vitally important in a Senna fasting lane, is the current CS advantage that the TK has over the Aphelios. Very good. And playing the lane correctly, as you can see here, trying to zone off Ryoklu. And of course, if you are Speedy, you're trying to make it so that Tom Kench is kind of tanking autos and baiting autos, like right here. And if you're Speedy, IREP just got his...
Oh, wow, yeah,
yeah,
binding lands, and it looks like the dive was canceled, and Ryoklu's just rolling in as hard as she can. Abarn is there on the long roam, and that is going to be an easy kill onto that Tom Kench. Spurg is there as well, so it looks like they're just going to be able to walk up and grab this dragon for free. But meanwhile, on the top side, yeah, they're just going to split and not even worry about it. But yeah, on the top side, Sir Aaron getting pushed under turret, but nothing doing. They're going to take that all day long.
Yeah, interaction check. Smile, you got the global root from Aphelios there, just kind of just destroying the Umbral. I believe it's called Umbral Passage? The W? Something like that. But either way, it's pretty much gone. As now we have a fight in the top side here.
Oh,
Sir Aaron
yeah.
getting desperately low. Jazz Music making it a top kingdom up here in the top side as Spurg is able to secure that dragon. So not really the biggest of trades here for the beautiful mutant sausages that probably could have done with that kill. But as we've said here before, that Aphelios is scaling, does have Cole, and is going to might be a menace here in these fights if Ryoklu can play them correctly.
Oh, definitely, and that's we've seen her in the past rocking that Aphelios as we approach the 9-minute mark. Fairly even gold still as we see Rick grabbing the Herald as well. That first placement is going to be key. Looks like he may be dropping it mid-side, but you never know. There's a lot of different options here, potentially unlocking with the CS advantage, although they're fairly even in the top side, potentially unlocking music. But we see Spurg channeling up, jumping in. It's a 2v2 situation. Ryoklu and Spurg jumping onto IREP as Espen is rejoining. Ulti goes down, but not going to do anything. IREP is just getting bullied in this bot lane, and I asked where Spurg was going. Turns out he's going bot lane. So yeah, doing great so far.
I mean, hey man, red-white, we want to fight. I mean, take a look at Ryoklu's gun combinations here. Going to be switching up to the green-purple. So now we have long-range roots and zone control. But once again, right, we're talking about those Aphelios gun combos. Red-white was the perfect gun combination, as we could potentially be seeing a dive here onto Speedy Bandito. I mean, that root should basically tell you everything you want to know. Could be looking for it, but IREP is here with level 6.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, I think they're just going to walk away from that one. They probably waiting a little bit too long. Speedy doing a good job of making sure the wave was as manicured as it could be. So it looks like they're just going to go back, reset, and they've got a nice chunk of change, 1,800 gold in the change of that, in the pocket of that jungler. So they're going to be able to get a couple of nice spikes and just convert that into it. But we are still dead even in gold. Dragon advantage on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party. Herald on the side. Rick actually needs to use that Herald at some point. If we could jump back to the items, I believe he still has it, hasn't dropped it anywhere. Nope, he's got that one, and he needs to get that thing out of his pocket. So it looks like he's kind of jumping between mid and bot, doesn't know what he wants to do. But Sir Aaron is getting incredibly low. Music just beating him up. I'm eating my words because I originally said, yeah, he had a little bit of trouble early. Not really looking like he's having any trouble early now as Rick rolls into the mid lane. Rick, please drop that Herald. It really, really needs to go down.
I mean, hey man, sometimes when you love something, you gotta set it free. So let's let this thing go, yeah. But I mean, the tempo currently okay as IREP goes in. This could potentially be an excellent play under Ryoklu. The ult coming in as well. This is absolutely a kill going into Speedy Bandito's favor. Please, God, take the kill. Please just do it. Okay, there we go. Shut down here for Speedy Bandito.
That's some patience. That's some patience from IREP, making sure that Speedy gets the kill. But unfortunately, Espen a little bit late on that black shield, not able to block that airborne, and then TK just able to chomp her up, split her from her support, and that's all she wrote. So momentum halted despite a lot of attention from Spurg, and it looks like Rick is going to return the favor, and this could very easily be a dive. As we see a dive coming in onto Espen. Espen goes golden, trying to stall as long as he possibly can, but it's not going to be enough. Rick going to tank up, having to flash out. Not sure if that flash was necessary, but they are going to grab a couple of plates, and there goes the Herald. Thank you so much. So we're going to see a potential couple other plates. I think they're going to let Speedy get... Oh, no, Speedy. Speedy, stay. Get those plates. Okay.
All right, awesome.
Okay,
I mean,
good. Speedy got those plates.
Yeah, he picked up some of those plates there. An excellent dive from Tiny Rick. Someone that we haven't really talked about a lot on the cast here tonight. Tiny Rick, Microscopic Rick. I mean, this guy, playing him last week, he was an absolute surprise. I will be completely honest with you. Playing with him from Season 1 to now, the year 2023, this player has improved so much. Like, this guy has been so quiet in a lot of the TCL public channels, but when he's in the game, he's honest. Now we see a topside trade here as we're who's gonna get this Sir Aaron?
There it is. That's what we think was gonna happen. And with Jax, right? If he can sit there and whoop on you, it's going to be great. But Garen has that burst potential where he can, and I believe he's running Ignite as well. So he is looking to bring the pain in that top lane, and was able to do so, barely surviving and giving himself his second kill and potentially working ahead. But yeah, Music's going to have to be really, really careful in those trades to make sure that he doesn't just get ground down and bursted, because he very much could, especially before he gets those items. As we see Spurg jumping in onto control Abarn, however, trying to manage the wave, able to get a little bit of poke. Not much. Goes really, really deep, taking a tower shot and coming in the back end. Shurima, not the Shurima Shuffle, but the Emperor's Divide, having to drop down control. Now dropping his ultimate and kind of kiting away onto Spurg. Spurg now getting low, but we see the bot lane joining the party, and so Spurg is just going to go down for free, and that is going to be a fairly significant advantage for the Beautiful Mutant Sausages as we approach the 14-minute mark. Dragon is available as well if they want to take it, starting to build themselves a gold lead. 1,000 gold right now, and potentially looking for more in the bot side. Binding does land onto Espen. IREP cutting off his escape. See you later, Espen. That's another kill for the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. And as I said before, if they want to get Dragon, now is the time going to be able to crash that wave onto the bot turret.
Yeah, that was some sussy shifting sands there from Abarn. I'm not entirely sure as to what the plan was. I think that was just a misclick, but ultimately baiting Spurg back into it and giving his life once again over to this Senna, who is starting to get very, very large here with the Umbral Glaive completed. Support quest probably almost going to be done here as well. I mean, take a look at that CS as well from Ryoklu. 14 minutes, 97 CS, as Speedy Bandito just takes a nice chunk of Ryoklu's life once again. I mean, so far, the map state is just in control of the Mutant Sausages, right? We're taking a look at all sides here, actually except top. Sir Aaron has done a fantastic job weathering the storm as he gets another kill. Top gap.
That's Garen for you.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, let's be real. In order to succeed in Garen, slam forehead onto keyboard, win. The ignite was actually on cooldown, looking at it, so he didn't even have to use the ignite to get that kill. But man, yeah, that's the thing that I was really nervous about in Champions Select was, Music, as we see the turret going down and IREP getting the tongue lash onto Espen. He's gonna dive in once again, cutting off his escape. So a lot of times not even using the dive to getting, as he gets the flash, he gets the grab, he gets the lunge. See you later. IREP is just an absolute menace in this bot lane. 4-0-3, perfect kill participation on Speedy as well. And yeah, this is they're absolutely kind of punishing these positional mistakes. And I love IREP not necessarily going for the knockup, but going to split Ryoklu and Espen and trying to pick them off one by one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a champion right there. that is certainly a champion of all time in Tahm Kench. I mean, as we see a play here now, Sir Aaron and Spur going in. The Q lands onto Microscopic Grip. This guy could be done for, does not have the ult, and it's pretty much a done and deal kill for Sir Aaron is now. Yep. Jazz Music is looking in, getting the autos in, could potentially find it. A shutdown now for Control, as Spurg is just going to elastic slingshot his way outside of the red buff, and he's gone.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 1-for-1. Sir Aaron getting shut down, which is great for the Beautiful Mutant Sausages, considering he had a decent chunk of change. As we are taking we are going to take a guided tour into the bot side, as bot inner has gone down as well, just in case any of you weren't aware of that. So we've got tower advantage on the side of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages as we approach the 17-minute mark, building themselves a nice 3,000 gold lead. So despite some of these scrappy and messy fights, as you said, map state firmly in control of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. Gold lead there, and if I could just take a quick look, I think I know where the gold is, but I want to take a look anyway. Slight gold lead on the side of between Speedy and Ryoklu, but yeah, look at that Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench, 6,700, 2,700 against what is considered his counterpart, quote unquote, although he's getting a lot of that gold. And then pretty even, a little bit of an advantage for Control, and then Sir Aaron on the other side getting an advantage, as we see the Herald crashing down and knocking out that bot outer. But yeah, the bot lane has moved to the mid lane, and we've got ourselves some carries on both sides. And on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, it's really going to come down to what Sir Aaron can do and if he can continue to be a nuisance. As we see Rick missing the binding, trying to make something happen, does get the stun onto Sir Aaron. Sir Aaron flashing out and running away, but Tom Kench in hot pursuit looking for another snack. He's going to go for the bounce. He's going to get it. One more. See you later. That's another kill on the Catfish. As we look into the mid lane, Control actually going down in the Penguin Pajama Party, trying to make a pseudo cross map play, as we saw top side getting pushed, but Rick going in looking for an ulti, able to get 2 members. Espen getting a decent ult onto 2 folks, but I think it's going to be too little too late, as we see Music bopping in and getting a lamppost to the noggin, and that is probably going to be mid outer down on top of 3 kills. Beautiful Mutant Sausages definitely in the driver's seat as we approach 19 minutes, 5,000 gold lead.
Yeah, I don't really know what the plan was there. You kind of saw Ryoklu walked up towards them to see if she could get a Graviton auto win for the root, but at that point, like, it was pretty much done. Like, she was getting killed no matter what after that mistake. So a lot of mechanical mistakes here coming out of the Penguin Pajama Party, and Beautiful Mutant Sausages are taking full advantage of it as we see the items coming through, right? One thing I did want to highlight here as well is the Sork shoes on Morgana. I'm not a Morgana expert. I'm kind of hoping Lemon or Spirit of Fate are in the chat right now, but I'm pretty sure that's not what you want. Pretty sure that's not the play.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I'm not quite sure. We're seeing a dragon dance as dragon does spawn. So this could be kind of our first explosive 5v5. We've seen a lot of skirmishes and a lot of picks, but nothing quite where both teams are just kind of slinging spells at each other. Rick is looking for a binding, and Sir Aaron and Spurg look like they just want to walk straight up. They are fairly beefy boys. We see a tongue lash going down, a little bit of poke from Control. But the positioning, Abarn is not with the team. He does have teleport, and he's trying to push out that bot wave, and it looks like Beautiful Mutant Sausages are just taking advantage and trying to push down this mid wave, trying to catch Penguin Pajama Party in a rotation. Binding goes out, not quite able to land, and Spurg, however, goes in. There goes the Black Shield, so he's not going to be able to CC. Counter engage from Tiny Rick. He gets pushed out, but he actually kind of jumps back over the wall. He's waiting for something. A lot of damage from Control. Control is just sitting in the middle of the fight, just sapping away at everybody, and this is all BMS. 2 for 1 so far. Microsoft Rick dying for his team, and we see Spurg just running for his life, and this is going to be, IREP grabbed Music and shoved him into the Dragon Pit. So that's going to be Dragon and 2 kills for BMS, continuing to roll this snowball down the hill. 5,000 gold going on 6,000 in Dragon number 2.
I am hoping that BF sword on Ryoklu is turning into a Gale Force, because these fights are so hard to handle here. Speedy Bandito is just using the Piercing Darkness here as the TP actually does come in. Speedy is actually alone here. This could potentially be a kill.
Oh, wow. What a great teleport. That was super clutch from Abarn. Spur gonna face tank 3 people. This is a lopsided situation, but Abarn is a Zir. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Music has a little bit too much power. So that's going to be a 2 for 1 again in favor of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. Heads up teleport from Abarn, but probably chasing a little bit too far to try to secure and stay into that fight.
Yeah, initially, right, you take a look at that. Speedy Bandito, right, obviously very strong, knows he could take that fight, gets the pick, the potential pick. I'm not sure if the passive was up when the fight started. I don't know if it was just coming up or whatnot. But I mean, that's a really big shutdown, though. I believe it went to the Azir. Yeah, so it ended up going to Abarn, which is a massive shutdown. Now has the Nashor's Tooth completed, looking into their 3rd item, which could potentially be the Rabadon's Death Cap here. Or something a little bit more, conventional. Could be, the Banshee's Veil for more protection. Already does a lot of damage already, as we do see an Infinity Edge coming out on the side of Ryoklu. Just really wants to do as much damage before they die, pretty much, is the name of the game of these fights. But you saw it there in that last team fight, right? You saw the Control, no pun intended, Control of the Swain being able to have all that AoE pressure in the fight, Speedy Bandito being able to free hit, Microscopic Rick being able to go in there as well with the ult, the massive AoE, and then obviously Jazz getting to do Jax things on the side. So, I mean, once again, we're taking a look here at the compositional advantage that BMS has, and they are just running away with it.
Yeah, they are definitely doing so. Something else that I wanted to call out as we see Rick may actually jump on Sir Aaron now. They're not quite going to do that, but they have great positioning on this Baron. Strong vision control does BMS. Something else, there isn't a whole lot of Grievous Wounds or heal cut on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, which is letting Control just kind of sit in these fights and swing for free. Music also has a pretty decent amount of sustain. Tom Kench has some sustain. There's enough sustain on BMS side where they do have the 2 ignites, but they're going to have to be deployed so carefully to make sure that Control can't do what he did in the last fight, which was literally just sit in the middle of 3 people and just drain their life. So that's just as if they didn't have Penguin Pajama Party didn't have enough problems. They have all the sustain on top of things. And yeah, Abarn got, as you said, got the Leandry's, got the Gnasher's Tooth, going to hopefully work his way towards something else. But I'm curious to see if that's going to play a factor. All of that sustain is going to play a factor as we get down the horn. We're approaching 24 minutes. And if Penguin Pajama Party is not careful, BMS is going to finish this game before, the Aphelios and the Azir show can start.
Yeah, so the biggest question, if you're Penguin Pajama Party, that you're looking into in these fights is how do we actually kill the Senna here? You have the Jax that's going to be running at you and trying to kill you, or is just going to be splitting as we see here on your screen, being able to get that inhibitor turret. Take a look at that. I mean, that's just beautiful stuff here coming from Jazz Music, as actually could lose their life for it as the Ignite pops down as well. Sir Aaron looking for that threshold for the ultimate, gets the silence. It's an auto war. Jazz Music gets the E down as another E comes down from Sir Aaron, and it's a 500 gold shutdown for the top laner of the Penguin Pajama Party. Is now we're seeing a fight happen here. Spur getting in the backline as Speedy Bandito just absolutely destroys Abarn. The Dawning Shadow comes out, and it's a double kill now as the Moonlight Vigil does absolutely nothing. BMS taking that fight on all fronts of the map.
Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, I gotta say that's kind of what we've seen from them all season, the Penguin Pajama Party, where Sir Aaron does, Sir Aaron's kind of doing his best and does something cool, and Penguin Pajama Party just loses the fight. I didn't really see if they got picked off to start it, but there's just such a gold advantage at this point. And looking at Senna's got 100 souls. She's got a lot going on right now, and so does the rest of the team. And yeah, it's just not enough for Penguin Pajama Party to make it happen. I think Abarn got picked off early in that fight and they weren't really able to turn it around. Man, that's just tough sledding for them. Well played, but I did want to call out once again. That's what the Jax is going to sit there in auto, and Garen goes, "Great, I got you to 30%. I press R, you die." That's what I expect that to be, and Music's going to have to get something in order to either sustain a little bit harder through that to make sure that he doesn't get into that health situation where he's going to just get executed. Can I get back to items, please? Or he's going to have to just kind of counter split where Garen goes on one side, he goes on the other side, and just kind of runs away and does a little bit of guerrilla tactics. But Dragon is up. BMS has total control of every single one of these global objectives, but they are a little bit split. This could be the fight that Penguin Pajama Party is looking for, as Abarn has teleported in 3 members of BMS, but looks like Penguin Pajama Party gave them the time they needed to group up, and they group up, and they're just going to start the Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, Speedy's flash getting blown there is actually kind of a pseudo thing here, because again, all these fights are starting and they're ending with the TK, right? If you're Penguin Pajama Party, how are you going to get in? And it looks like a steal will come in for Spurg. Right, oh my goodness, I can't even speak. That was an amazing steal. The Penguin Pajama Party savior coming in, as he does end up falling, is now a fight on all fronts happens. Espen just sits there, says, all right, guess I'm pretty much dead. And the rest of them will be walking away. A fantastic steal from Spurg, but once again, right, we're talking about all the collateral damage that happens outside of it, right? Dragons are even, which is fantastic, but now we're going to be knocking on the base side. So, I mean, really worth, question mark?
I don't think so. Probably. I mean, I feel like they had to go for something. And they had their opportunity when the team was split, and they didn't take it. And they let, they got the steal, but they could have just had, you know, Spurg go for the hero steal. They absolutely had a chance as Penguin Pajama or as BMS was rotating. Some of them took the long way, some of them took the short way, and there were 3 members, and they could have jumped all over them, but they just hesitated.
Yeah, I mean, we're once again taking a look at the items here. Eclipse coming out on Senna. I mean, Senna is just so massive right now. Can hit you from 3 screens away. I mean, how are you killing this guy with the TK there, with the ultimate? Okay, apparently we're gonna flash on them. Yeah, there's the from IREP there. Speedy Bandito is literally alive as now. Remember, there is no flash. Spur getting into the back line. It is a tank, however, could 100% Speedy Bandito, as here comes Control with the Demon Flare, trying to control this fight as Abarn's doing anything that he can, but it will not matter. BMS is knocking on your door.
Yeah, that is just that is the Swain train chugga choo-chooing through you, and without really anything to stop him, he's just dumping the deeps, draining away, thoroughly enjoying being in the middle of the team. You know, sometimes when you're a Swain, that's not a fun place to be because they just dogpile onto you, but that is a sweet, sweet feeling when you're just draining 3 to 4 people and there's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. So this is BMS. All BMS as we're approaching that magical 30-minute mark. 2 dragons each, but BMS out in front. Speedy 10, 1, and 13. Every single member of this squad just making stuff happen, grouping together, creating a death ball, and inhibitor number 1 going down, and inhibitor number 2 is exposed. So they've got some great opportunities for this Jack split push if they want to threaten that open inhibitor while sieging down the top side.
I mean, it's almost a 10k gold lead, man, as you take a look at the gold stats here at the top of your screen. Now that Senna's going to have a rapid fire cannon, so she's going to be able to hit you even more. I mean, really, how are you stopping this team right now, right? As we've said time and time again, you literally can never kill that Senna. That Jax is in your face, that Swain's in your face, controlling the fight. You have Microscopic Rift doing all of the CC here. And once again, another thing we have to talk about here is there is no QSS, there is no cleanse on Ryoklu, there is only a spell shield that Espen hasn't really been landing much in these fights. So they're kind of sitting ducks at this point.
Yeah, it's rough, and you know they have some shred, but not a ton of shred, and you know they don't really have shred. They can't punish BMS for being really, really aggressive with their positioning. So I don't normally like to call games early, but this is very much where you see if you can pick them off. See if you can maybe pick one of them off, and maybe music overextends and you can kill them and just try to stall this game out as long as you can. But there is a consideration where you have to think about this as a series and not just an individual game. And when a team is this far ahead, it's something you got to factor in. That being said, they do have a pathway to soul. It is an ocean soul, so that will give them a little bit more of that sustain that they need in Penguin Pajama Party in some of these fights. So they could stall out for soul, they could stall out for late game, but they need to be really, really, really careful and just play Farmville. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to fight immediately as we see Spur going in onto 2 people, teleport coming in, so Music's going to join the fight. But BMS is just shredding down these health bars. Spur trying to get out. He is dead immediately. Abarn just explodes with Ryoklu not that far behind, and it's just going to be a total rout for BMS. They take the engage. They say, thank you very much. That's exactly what we were looking for. Well, let's go win game 1.
Wow, fun champ, Smile. As Control literally just sits on them being like, all right, yeah, you want to play the fight? Yeah, tough luck, man. I got an E. I'm pulling you in. There's not a damn thing you can do, as now BMS is knocking onto the doors of the Nexus turrets here. I mean, it's looking very done and dusted. Sir Aaron has no flash, cannot do anything, despite him being the strongest member on this team right now. We take a look and we see it. Here it is, Senna TK. Welcome to the TCL. BMS take game 1.
Oh man, yeah, that's a nasty combination that I don't know if we're gonna see in game 2, but either way, really, really well played by the beautiful Mutant Sausages. You know, after let's say maybe 5 or 10 minutes, they had they were in total control of that game, and it showed, I would say, a little bit of messiness. There were a lot of kind of scrappy back and forths, and credit to Sir Aaron putting a lot of pressure. But you called it, right? Once that Jax gets moving, there was that one solo kill on the bot side that made you go, oh, probably didn't want that to happen. But other than that, Beautiful Mutant Sausages really looking like an absolute unit, and well played by them in this game one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, take a look at all that damage here. Obviously, you can see the Swain dealing the most. Azir, obviously, with the Leandre's Torment. I mean, these guys on PPP, they obviously played their hearts out. But when you're against Sen and TK, it's a ticking time bomb, right? You can only end the game
Yeah.
so quickly, and we saw it in here. So when we come back for game number 2, we are hoping and praying for a Tahm Kench ban, because that's a fun champ. Don't go anywhere.
We'll see.
I'll bring it back, Joss. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TCL stream, brought to you by LeakSpot. Jaws,
Yeah.
we just saw a masterclass in the Senate TK department in the bot side on behalf of beautiful mutant sausages. So I want to go ahead and I want to unpack everything that happened in that game and why Tahm Kench needs to be taken away or banned by IREP.
Chronologically or emotionally? Because, you know, depending upon what you're looking for, I would say emotionally speaking, Tahm Kench is just a depressing champion to play against. He just keeps people that you're trying to kill alive, and then when you can't kill them and then you blow your cooldowns on them, it's just a brutal situation. Also, just I'll call back, like in previous seasons, IREP has played off of a Senna incredibly well. And there are other champions. We were saying, oh, they got to ban Tahm Kench. I'm like, yes, I agree. But the Senna really unlocks IREP's pool and allows him to do a lot more and also allows his team to do a lot more, where Music can play carries. They know they can bring kind of the farmed beefcake from IREP in the bottom lane. So I will say, yes, Tahm Kench is a nightmare and a pain, and the Tahm Kench Senna lane is brutal, but Senna really does kind of open up IREP's pool. So there's definitely a tough decision to be made, right? Do you ban the Tahm Kench and you're like, Tahm Kench was a problem, we gotta get rid of that? Or do you take Senna off the table and not just get rid of Tahm Kench, but get rid of that entire swath of IREP's pool that he could potentially grab for it?
Yeah, so I actually think it's the opposite, to be completely honest with you, because Speedy actually, his champion pool is very wide. There isn't really a champ off the top of my head that Speedy Bandito doesn't play at least somewhat consistently. That being said, the Tahm Kench not being banned actually opens the door to a lot of immobile carries that Speedy can pull out, right? Could potentially be Kog'Maw TK. Very unlikely, but it could happen, right? Zeri TK could potentially happen as well. I just think that TK really unlocks a lot of tools in lane to be able to get the jump onto them with the W, and obviously to keep on protecting Speedy and ensuring that Speedy doesn't get jumped. Because when you take a look on the side of the Penguin Pajama Party, they had a lot of champs that really just wanted to get into your face and dive you, right? And TK having a button that says, absolutely not, get off my carry, really kind of nullifies the Azir. It nullifies the Zac, right? That was early rotation into this game, right?
Valid.
So there's a lot of factors of why the TK could be a good argument for a ban here. But like you said as well, Senna, right? IREP does a great job playing around the Senna. Infinite scaling, heal, camouflage, global ult plus shield. There's a lot to be said.
I was thinking more just IREP gets to farm, right? He gets farmed.
Yeah.
So I mean, all of these things you said are also true. Yeah. But I was thinking more just the simple fact that with a fasting Senna, IREP gets to farm, right? He becomes a fully fledged tank and gets farm as opposed to being a support. Like support Tahm Kench, don't get me wrong, giant pain in the butt. But a support Tahm Kench with a ton of farm, as we see. Oh, interesting. So we've got BMS on the blue side now, and we've got a Jarvan ban being directed at Spurg for the third lane. So it looks like we're potentially going to see a fourth ban on the side of BMS, as we see Swain actually being banned away. So that's a pivot from the side of the Penguin Pajama Party. Renata and LeBlanc unchanged. So a couple of slight adjustments as the sides shift, but I would be expecting a fourth ban first pick from Music, as we see the Xayah hover. Not sure if that's going to be a Xayah lock. Speedy's great on Xayah. Wouldn't surprise me. Darius hover. Okay, what you going to pick, buddy? There's the Xayah. Okay, I'm curious what we're going to see with here, but it's definitely not going to be a Senna, so we're going to see a very, very different bottom lane out of this squad. No Tahm Kench ban necessary.
I like this adaptation here from the side of BMS, right? Xayah has obviously been probably one of the best, if not the single best AD carry in the TCL meta currently, right? Offers a lot of zone control with the feathers, right? Being able to pull it back with the blade collar, and then being able to use the ultimate from Xayah to get away from those dives, right? So gonna be an early Ornn lock here as well for Sir Aaron. Obviously very synonymous with the champion as the Nautilus comes in as well from the side of Penguin Pajama Party. Could be an Aphelios, could be a Kaiser coming off a Ryoklu, being able to get in there. Could actually just be the classic Zaya Kaisa matchup that we've been seeing a lot in professional play, but this isn't professional play, this is TCL. So there's a lot of different there's a lot of different meta quote unquote like TCL meta compositions that probably wouldn't be viable in pro play, as the Maokai comes in as well. Excellent champion for Microscopic Rick. Very annoying on that champ, may I just say. Very good player on the Maokai, as we were waiting probably what's going to be the pick for IREP here, or it could just be a control blind. Control, you know, obviously really just okay, Cassante in TCL finally.
Yeah, I will say the Maokai could be a support as well, because IREP has run Maokai support. So I gotta call that out. As we see the Rise hover, potentially Abarn's getting sick of getting, you know, double banned on his second wave. But yeah, that's gonna be a Cassante top from Music, and I mean, I've seen the memes. I'm sure you've seen the memes. Cassante is just a giant pain in the butt. Okay, the Rise grabs. Yeah, Abarn's get sick of getting banned out second wave, so we're going to see the Rise. I love the Ornn pick from Sir Aaron, but yeah, Cassante coming in. That's going to be that's going to be a rough one. It can get him going. I'm really curious to see where this Maokai is going to go, because he could really go jungle. He could go support. There's a couple of different angles, and it does force. It forces some guessing games out of Penguin Pajama Party of where is he going to go, because if they have a specific support they don't like, you know, they're, especially in the second wave, but it looks like they're just going to aim all the rest of the bans at control. Jinx ban being targeted at Ryoklu. Yeah, the Silas is brutal. I would expect another control ban at this point, but on the BMS side, yep, there's the last control ban. And yeah, BMS, let's see, who do we got left? It's probably, yeah, we got support in the solo laner, so AD or jungle. If they have another, maybe they could ban away the Zac if they didn't like it too much. BMS, they seem like they're really clicking across the board, not just in terms of the draft, but also, you know, in their game one play, and they're vibing. They really do seem to be vibing.
And to get super technical here, right? That Cassante could technically go mid. We have seen some mid Cassantes outside of TCL. The champion is just so giga strong right now that the Control honestly could probably first time the champion and probably roll the Rise, to be completely honest with you. As we see a potential Ryoklu Vayne, this gets me excited. I would love to see it, and it will. We're locking it in. The TCL quintessential champion for making a playoff run. I would know. It's Ryoklu's Vayne. Let's get it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's gonna be hype. I'm trying to figure out why they banned Wukong and who they banned Wukong against. I'm assuming it's against Spurg, but I'm not sure. Okay, interesting.
100% Spurg.
All right, Syndra grab from Control, a classic Control champion, and it is just going to be, will that Maokai be in the jungle, or will he be in the support?
We're about to find out here, Jaws, as it will be the Scion coming out here. What exactly am I looking at? That could be a IREP Scion. That could be a controlled. What is happening? I mean,
I think they can still. I think it's still a flex. I think they can still flex both, because IREP plays Scion support, IREP plays Maokai support, Rick plays a ton of Scion in the top lane. Oh, and a Kindred. Oh boy, this is getting spicy. We got a double AD comp with a Rise scaling, a massive scaling comp on the side of Penguin Pajama Party, and just a hardcore pick off mid game blow your face up comp from BMS. Okay, so it is going to be a Scion jungle and a Maokai support. So it was double super flex, we'll call it, because both of them could have gone either way. But yeah, we are going to see a Scion in the jungle, and the Cassante has there been another Cassante pick this season? I don't believe there has.
I don't think so, and that actually surprises me. I think Cassante, obviously the memes are there, right? You can obviously go back to the Showmaker meme where he literally just talks about literally everything in the champion's kit, and that's the champion. Cassante, obviously a very strong top lane pick, especially into the Ornn. You have to remember, let's just start going down the list of what this champ can do, right? He's got a Q that costs 15 mana. He's got a passive that does true damage. He has 3 Qs that he can use as his disposal. He has a knock-up. He has an airborne. He has a W, an unstoppable W. You can't tap it, though. That got removed. He's got an E with a shield, right? He's got the ult that gives him more bonus AD based off of how much resistances he has, right? He has bonus AD on his Q depending on how much just... This champ is insane. And the fact that we haven't seen it more in TCL perplexes me. So I'm really happy that Jazz is finally throwing down the gauntlet and being like, okay, yeah, I'm going to pioneer this pick in TCL. But on the other side, we have...
Toasty, you forgot the most important part about Ornn. Free gold.
This is true.
Yeah.
We're making money, Jaws. This is fantastic.
You forgot about the free gold. Like it's literally free real estate. Like he just gives you free gold on top of all of the other things, and he looks fabulous while doing it. Right?
Absolutely.
Like, let's be real. These are the important things. But yeah, as I believe Ryokla had mentioned, we are running a very specific kind of vein for you, Toasty. We will not talk about it on stream, but if you're in chat, you can read for yourself. But yeah, I don't know, each of these squads. Side note: if any of y'all would like to hang out with us for this Spectre delay, feel free to jump in Armchair Analyst. We'd love to get your opinions about this and what else you think about Ornn and the other crazy things he does. But we've got a double AD comp on the side of Penguin Pajama Party, hyperscaling every carry, right? The other thing I like about this, and I wanted to call this out, is that Spurg has been running almost exclusively tanks, tanky initiators, bruisers, what have you. This is one of the first times he's actually running a carry. And I love the triple threat, right? They've got Rise, they've got Vayne, they've got Kindred. At least 2 of them are going to get moving. And it's a nice change of pace for the Penguin Pajama Party, whereas before we've seen, jungle go in, team try to fight, team die. And that's kind of been the rhythm of Penguin Pajama Party. On the other side with BMS, that Cassante scares the ever-loving crap out of me. And music... I'm no longer going to speculate on whether music is going to do well or not. The guy clearly knows what he's doing in that lane. He knows, he's got that Cassante, and I'm excited to see what's going on.
Yeah, I have a really bad taste in the champions I enjoy. Cassante being one of them, Zeri being one of them. Let's see here, Aphelios being another one. So again, right, like I have a really bad taste in champions, but even I can admit the champion is incredibly overtuned. Right, same thing with TK, but again, you do have that tank slayer on the side of Penguin Pajama Party in Ryoklu, and also Kindred, and also in Rise. So, like you said, free real estate. We're going to absolutely milk the ornaments in this game for all 3 of those carries. It's going to be a fantastic time. The one concerning factor, though, on the side of Penguin Pajama Party is... So, okay, right, we're obviously playing a front-to-back team composition, right? We're obviously playing a front-to-back style. So, like, when are we actually going to start fighting, right? Like, at this point, right, it looks like a much more early game composition on the side of the beautiful mutant sausages, and the fact that you do have things like the Maokai that can get early control, right? You have the Xayah that has incredible zone control, obviously. Once again, no pun intended, control on the control mage in Syndra, being able to get that early gold here with the first strike. There's just a lot of factors, right? And also, we have to be very, very mindful of where Spurg is going to be going because of those marks. Kindred, when picked, has obviously been a very scary champion to me, as we do see a potential 5-man top side here going on to Sir Aaron. Sir Aaron going to have to back off a little bit as the Oracle Lens does come out. We're going to be looking. Spurg actually looked like he wanted to back off there, oddly enough. But yeah, we're just going to get a ward. We're going to get some early vision. We're actually going to take that ward plus 5 gold. Hee XD. And we're just walking out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And also, quick call out, Speedy actually started calls, so they are clearly not concerned about this early lane. Speedy's just gonna farm away and, hit 10 minutes, get 100 CS, and kind of move on from there. So yeah, a very, I don't want to call it arrogant, but it's a very confident early buy, especially considering Xayah. I mean, Xayah's a fairly strong laner, so he's really not that concerned about the Ryoklu Espen bot lane if he's running Cull. So that one jumped out at me, and we're about to start things off. But yeah, the other thing with this composition is that the early mid game is pretty nasty, right? Syndra's a lane bully, Xayah can be a lane bully. The scaling is sort of there, but it's not necessarily the like, I'm going to melt your face off into the late game, and solo carry the way that you have with a Vayne or a Kindred or a Ryze. So BMS is going to have to be really careful to make sure that they have a pretty large advantage before we get to that 30-minute mark. As we see top lane, just two big boys just beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, two big beefy men up here in the top side, just kind of throwing everything out here, especially Jazz Music once again on the Giga Chad Cassante, getting the early pressure, getting the early level 2, going to be looking to get even more, getting the grass proc, another Q, smile, look how much fun Sir Aaron is having in this top side. As, hey guys, guess what? 5 CS gold lead on the side of Penguin Pajama Party's bot lane. Another thing I did want to also touch on as well is do not underestimate early Vayne damage. It's actually quite insane. Especially with press the attack, which is something that Ryoklu is currently not going because, according to her, she's going what she likes to call, let me check my notes here, the exposed feet Vayne build. So, interesting to say the least, but yeah, like take a look at that Q damage right there. That's actually a lot.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Vayne deals true damage every third hit. Like Vayne can pump out the deeps. I'm just saying more the fact that Xayah, and especially Xayah plus Maokai can absolutely, as we see a stun landing onto Abarn, quick trade from control, the Xayah can just pump it out plus the stun. I'm surprised that there's the Cull. So they must be perfect. They must be perfectly happy to just hang out and wait 15 minutes and then go win the game, because that's kind of what they're looking at, is they're gonna just kind of chill, farm, bully, and then 10 to 15 minutes, maybe first dragon fight, already going with the deep wards. So they're just trying to track out. Yeah, great track out of Spurg, seeing where he is right now. Oh, we got a fight
going on the bot side here.
Yes, we do.
Getting a hook here onto Speedy Bandito. It's actually looking pretty good. Ryoklu getting ignited already. As we take a look, the free hits coming in. A beautiful condemn from Ryoklu, as now IREP is forced to get onto Espen. Espen once again forced to flash. Berg looking for an auto attack, walks away, could be potentially looking to be dance around. Control is hovering as well. And I guess it won't amount to anything other than a ward kill and a couple summoners blown. So not actually bad here from either side. Speedy having to blow the heal as potentially a fight here brewing out after that stun here from Control in the mid lane. Gets the level up on the side of Abarn. Yeah, nothing really other than summoners blown, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I would just... No, that's true. I mean, that's the big thing, is I want to see what they're going to do. What are they going to do to Espen now that they know that Espen doesn't have a flash? Because both of them still have their flashes. So for the next 4 minutes, Espen is gonna be on that wanted list, and especially because Ryoklu is still incredibly low. Either she backed and came back and just got blasted, or she did not back. I believe, considering she didn't buy, she just stayed. So she's fairly low still. Going to be able to heal up with some of these procs. But Espen looking to be aggressive, and he's going to have to be really, really careful. Spurg hovering around, so probably the reason for the aggression. But yeah, without his flash, he's not going to have the ability to kind of hook in and then maybe go, oops, didn't mean to, and then flash out. On the other side, Speedy and IREP could absolutely be aggressive, as we see Abarn trying to take it to Control as both mana bars are running low.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Espen right now, you're kind of like a puppy, to be completely honest with you. I mean, you're not really looking to get anything too aggressive here. I mean, obviously you want to hit that hook, but, like you said, right, that little oopsie hook, as we see a trade. Nice trade here coming out on the side of actually Jazz Music getting the upper hand on that one. Getting the Q2, looking for the Q3, maybe the grass proc. Nope, just going to clear the wave. Fun wave clear. Cassante tank, by the way, champ, and pretty standard stuff here from the side of Penguin Pajama Party, and as well as BMS. Again, one thing I wanted to touch on as well is keep an eye out on those kindred marks, right? Both teams being able to see where that mark is going to be, so expect a lot of action. My only concern here is I don't think Microscopic Rick can actually ever fight Spurg meaningfully. I feel like Spurg actually just wins because you have the hail of arrows, or no, that's Varus's ability. the dance from Kindred being able to dodge all those skill shots, and you know, Microscopic Rick not actually being able to get onto the Kindred until much later into the game. So, very interested to see how this jungle matchup's going to look.
Yeah, yeah, it's just going to be a farm fest, although Microsoft Rick is actually fairly ahead now in the farming, and we see a potential Realm Warp. Abarn going and getting the root down onto Speedy. Great flash out from Speedy, going to use that flash advantage, but Ryoklu counter flashes in. She held onto that flash. That's going to be first blood for Ryoklu. Now we're in a 3v2 situation in favor of Penguin Pajama Party. IREP going to be able to try to get out of there, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Abarn's going to get the kill, so that's going to be a 2-for-0 in favor of the Penguin Pajama Party, wiping out that bottom lane and really not kind of taking away the flash advantage that they had.
Already, Ryoklu throwing down the gauntlets here, flashing forward to get the first blood onto the BMS bot lane. Exactly what you want to see from the side of Penguin Pajama Party. Espen getting a beautiful hook, as now we're seeing a little bit of a trade here on the top side of the map. Not going to actually mean anything. Microscopic Rick taking the scuttle, Jazz Music taking the ward. Interestingly, though, I am very curious to see what this Vayne build is going to be, because there are currently 2 Vayne builds floating around. There is currently the Static Shift Trinity Force build, right, which has pretty much been the standard since Trinity Force got introduced, or rather reworked with that little Mythic update for the ADCs. Very good Mythic item. Or there is a Stormrazor's Essence Reaver Yomu's Ghostblade build currently happening on all levels of solo queue. But that one is a little bit more to one-shot the squishies, which happens to be Speedy, Control, and maybe IREP on a good day. So I'm very curious to see what it's actually going to look like. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be the Static Shift Trinity Force build. Obviously, Trinity Force being able to give you a lot of damage and a lot of mobility in these fights, which is exactly what Ryoklu needs, because she cannot depend on this team to peel for her, right? They all want to go in. They all want to fight. Your only peeling tools happen to be the Ornn, which is probably going to be engaging the fights and looking to go in, or the Kindred, that's probably going to be ulting. So Ryoklu obviously picking the Vayne, right? Seeing all the tanks, throwing down the gauntlet, saying, I'm going to drive the Lamborghini, as you usually say, Jaws. Showing everyone how it's done on that pick, but also has to be very mindful that she's pretty much playing for herself in this game.
Yeah, she's definitely going to need some shred if they're going to want to get through this, because they're going to have 3, probably 2.5, depending upon how big IREP gets, beef walls to roll through. So the blow up the squishies isn't really going to win the game in that point, especially when you're dealing with a Cassante. So I would expect her to run a more kind of shreddy ready comp, as IREP jumping onto Espen and Speedy's following up.
Yeah, okay, all right. We have the ult coming in as Speedy Bandito getting another ult. Beautiful kill from them, and here comes Sion! Choo-choo, baby, as Ryoklu actually canceling an auto there that could be pivotal, but does actually get the Condemn on the side. A beautiful Condemn, a double kill now coming in on the side of Penguin Pajama Party, as Spurk kind of just walks into Microscopic Rick for some reason. Does still have the ult available, as Ryoklu now using the passive to try to get Microscopic Rick even lower on health. And that's the fight in favor of PPP.
Yeah,
very well played from Ryoklu, especially on that Condemn, and Cassante is dead.
Yeah, that was... I actually heard in my ear on the spectator side while we were watching this, the Ornn horn being dropped. So Sir Aaron able to get the solo kill again, and Penguin Pajama Party definitely having a very different game this time around than they did last game, looking a lot stronger across all of the different lanes and really absorbing some of this aggression that we're seeing. Yeah, Speedy and IREP trying to make something happen, but Rick was there trying to do the counter engage. But yeah, Espen actually jumping onto Rick again, but IREP is there as the depth charge goes down. Abarn and Spurge slowly closing in. Yeah,
okay, here we go. Now, the tools are pretty much all gone now from the side of BMS. Is now another hook lands. Espen actually really good for these today. Abarn can't quite finish the kill. Spurg is here. They're going to look to secure the scuttle, and that's probably going to be the end of it unless Control gets a nice scatter of the week. Does not able to get it. We didn't even talk about the fact that Spurg actually died at the end of that fight. Control being able to get that kill as well. And I think it actually happened as the Realm Warp comes in. Okay, a 3-man Realm Warp coming in. The hook does land. They are good for it, as Abarn potentially looking to get a little bit more damage, but will not get it in the slightest. So But again, I want to talk about that kill that happened on Spurg. I think.
Well, before you do that, I'm going to talk about the Syndra play. Control having great positioning, seeing the Realm War, and not having his summoners, and just being able to kind of walk under and making sure that doesn't matter if he gets CC'd, he's going to stay alive as Dragon goes down.
There it is, right? PPP picking up that Chemtech Drake. Ocean next could potentially be any of the other souls in the game after that. But yeah, I mean, the mark, I believe, was actually on the bot side of the map, and I think Spurg actually stuck around just a little too long. And Control, knowing where the mark was, kind of just stood there, waited, and got the kill. So, excellent stuff from both sides as the static shift does come through for Ryoklu. I've heard a lot of people actually talk about this item not actually being that great as a trade comes out here from Sir Aaron right under his own tower. This looks pretty good for him, getting the autos in, another Q. Getting the brittle passive, and here comes the Horn. It's sounding, baby. The Unstoppable, though. What a champion. He decides to go back into Sir Aaron's tower.
Oh, no.
Oh, mamma mia. Jazz Music making that champ look balanced as Espen gets another kill on the side of Penguin Pajama Party. Ryoklu flashes in for the kill to finish it off. Gets the Q as the beautiful little buddy, I'm going to call it in this case, as the Condemn comes out as well. Ryoklu just free hitting on Microscopic Rick. Be careful of that tower shot, though, as they're potentially looking to get this wave in and maybe dive, but I don't think it's doable against the Scion.
No, and that was, yeah, just action all across the map. And Penguin Pajama Party, a total coin flip from, no, it's not necessarily a coin flip. They're flipping heads on this side as we approach 13 minutes, making sure that they are sending this to a game 3. We are still playing for placements, and yeah, there was, a couple of different situations where music probably overextending a little bit. Yeah, we see a jump onto Ryoklu, potentially overstaying.
Oh no, Ryoklu getting caught there in the brush. The Oracle Lens actually scooping her out there. IREP with a beautiful play to say, hey, let's just kill this guy real quick. Well done here. Speedy Bandito getting the shutdown. And I mean, that's exactly obviously not what you want to see from your carry on the side of Penguin Pajama Party, but it happens. Getting a little hyphy, taking a little bit of those risks, but definitely should have backed up in a more further away brush.
Yeah, the Ryoklu a little ambitious with her back, but able to just getting punished, and the gold goes on to Speedy, which is huge. And yeah, you can't discount the IREP Maokai. If he gets a pick off, right, he's got so much CC, and he can really lock up some of these hypermobile carries. So there's still life in this BMS squad if they can get moving, but man, music in that top lane duel just getting a little overly ambitious, a bit of a misfire in his dash, taking the tower hit when he was already down. It just looks like he's pressing a little bit too much in these fights instead of letting the fights come to him, and Sir Aaron has punished him for it mercilessly both times. So he's going to have to kind of settle down a little bit, let himself get moving into this lane. Otherwise, that is going to keep happening. Sir Aaron knows what he knows, but now he's in a bad situation.
Actually, hold on.
Oh no! Wait a minute. I guess
we got a little
Rick's
bit of
walking away, but we have a 2v2.
We got to fight the top side here. Sir Aaron getting the Horn down, and once again, Kasante looking pretty balanced in TCL meta. Getting taken down once again as Sir Aaron actually knocks up Microscopic Rick as Microscopic Rick will look to get the ultimate. Potentially could get a kill back here. This would be a miraculous play if he's able to kill at least one person, please! Oh, but the beautiful Kindred ult from Spurg probably still gonna die. Anyways, a great display of mechanics there from Control. Pressing the R button is now a fight is breaking down in the bot side as well. Consistent action. Speedy Bandito getting caught up there from the ultimate as Ryoklu once again finds herself in a missed position there. And BMS actually finding some windows here to contest and try to actually just end the series right here. Oh my god, Ira!
That's a dirty cancel. What? I mean, he did broadcast it, but just just kind of hanging out the patience, and that's what I was talking about with that Maokai support. He started that ulti, I believe, like halfway down the lane. So he and Speedy had been coordinating the bait. They said, tower's going to go down. I'm going to drop my ulti, and Ryoklu and Espen fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, absolutely pun intended. But yeah, in the top side, just that is the PPP macro, right? They all get together, and they just try to make stuff happen. And we see Spurg looking for Control, who's very overextended. Sir Aaron knocking him up. Could be another kill for Penguin Pajama Party.
Yeah, I believe Spurg actually marked Control here, so this would be very big if they could get it here. A shutdown as well could potentially come through, and there it is, right for Spurg. Oh,
there it is.
Actually getting a 1-for-1.
Wow. Control's too good at this game. That's
Oh
ridiculous.
man, somebody nerf him. Somebody take away his R key from him.
Not just that, just like the patience and the ability to kind of generate as many spheres as he possibly could to just get that last bit. Going down Overstand, as you mentioned, did get a mark. I'm gonna double check marks real quick. So we've got Spurg currently has, where's my overlay? Spurg has two marks. Yes,
2 marks. A very underwhelming number, to say the least, unfortunately.
Oh, for sure.
Once again, those are permanent stacks. So, I mean, if they can find more picks like that, right? If they can scale up, if they could potentially look for even more plays, they can definitely make it happen. I mean, take a look at that Ornn in the top side here. An absolute top kingdom here from Sir Aaron, playing out of his mind this series. And once again, right, we're talking about that scaling earlier in the game as the Rift Herald gets picked up from Microscopic Rick. Dragon being taken on the bot side. PvP is scaling. I mean, the Rod of Ages is there. Now,
here's a fight.
Oh my goodness, Microscopic Rick is coming in. The Twisted Advance comes down. This is surely a one fight for them as Ryoklu actually gets rooted. A miscommunication there from the side of PPP. Spurg's got to get the hell out of Dodge. A very, very rare positional error coming through there on the Twisted Advance from Ryoklu. Definitely not what you want to see, as now Control is looking to kill Sir Aaron. The Ornhorn at some point has to come down. There it is. Will he find it? Absolutely not. It's a shutdown for Speedy Bandito, and it looks like BMS once again will get even more of a lead onto the scaling composition.
Yeah, and they've got the Rift Herald as well, so they're going to be able to blast down this mid-inner in addition to the outer, get a clunker, and then probably have Speedy kind of shred it down with music there. And this is, unfortunately, what we've seen a lot of from Penguin Pajama Party, just, split focus, split team, and just getting punished. And yeah, that's kind of what we saw. Oh, and they get the slam onto the inhibitor turret as well. That is exactly what BMS needs to get back into this game. The crazy thing is they were never really out of this game. There were some early laning plays, in the bot side, Ryoklu getting a little bit ahead, but all told, it's still a gold advantage in favor of BMS in this game too. And more importantly, the gold is on the right people. Control has a pretty sizable advantage over A-Barn. Speedy has a fairly sizable advantage over Ryoklu. And the only major advantage that Penguin Pajama Party has is their Ornn. The problem is he's an Ornn. He's going to do a lot of cool stuff. He's going to survive a long time, but he's not necessarily going to bring the deeps. So yeah, Penguin Pajama Party is going to have to start really slowing and stalling this game out, because that middle inhibitor is looking really, really tasty if I'm BMS, and the Baron is as well, because they want to fight.
Yeah, speaking about Essence Reaver earlier on in the game, I just saw it get completed. Ryoklu is actually looking for an Essence Reaver. So this Mythic is now definitely not going to be Trinity Force, because obviously the Sheen procs, they don't stack.
Oh, yep.
As now we have a fight coming in here on the side of BMS and PvP as a beautiful Twisted Advance. IREP just flashes into the back line. Here comes Microscopic Rick. This dude's got muscles, this dude's got ambition, and this dude's got a hell of a lot of health, as Spurd is going to try to get out there as Control looks to just flash and press the R button. Once again, Ryoklu looking to do literally anything into this fight. Probably not going to happen. Has to take the blast plant out, using the movement speed from Ghost to be able to get away. Sir Aaron using a wonderful flash, getting hit by the Scatter the Weekend. Here comes IREP with the roots. Control is unstoppable. BMS is knocking on your base once again, and potentially looking for another Scatter the Week onto Ryoklu. It's a double kill for Control, and this game is getting out of hand on the side of BMS.
It's just insane to me how Control can just very, very quietly make sure that the game, number one, doesn't get out of hand, and then when he sees his opportunity, he just takes over the game. This is 2 team fights in a row where he's just dominated. He's gotten as much DPS as he possibly can. And also, you called it. Shout out to IREP diving into 3 people and just face tanking them and surviving for so long. And I do want to go back to that play that Control made in the top side, waiting as long as he possibly could to get the return kill onto Spurg. That really seems like that really got the engine going, because he had just been kind of hanging out, farming, surviving, and then that's 2 to 3 fights from there where he's just running things over, got his items, chugging along. He's got 10 stacks on his Medjais. Like, this guy is a problem.
Yeah, I also want to call out the Shirella's battle song on Nautilus. No Locket of the Iron Solari on this build. So it's basically a, hey, let's run them down, smile. Oh, wait, we're actually getting ran down because we have an unstoppable force that's coming at us in Microscopic Rick. We have Control just setting up a bunch of balls in the back line, and then we have Feathers to worry about, and we have Maokai Saplings that we have to worry about. So I feel like Locket definitely would have been a better item to use, but I can definitely understand the value that the battle song would bring, but I feel like it's an item that you would have to buy if you're ahead. It's a very conditional buy, and I'm not exactly sure if I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Locket's necessarily losing PPP the game, to be honest with you. I think a lot of what I'm seeing is that, you know, the fights are split, and especially on the BMS side, BMS is doing a really, really good job of kind of zoning out the potential threats and letting Control and Speedy do their thing. As we see a dive onto Music, oh boy, they're going deep on this one.
What the hell just happened to him? That dude just went 5 different places in 1 second. Crucially, though, Ryoglu picked up the kill, and now they're actually going to be looking to siege this topside turret as a beautiful Scatter of the Week comes from Control, getting even more zoning off, and now the Realm Warp of all 5 of them right on Kasante's dead body is going to get them out. Beautiful play there from PPP. They're definitely not out of this yet.
Oh, no. This is still a pretty tight one as we approach the 23-minute mark. Dragon Control slightly in favor of PPP, and yeah, there's definitely plenty of League of Legends to be had. And we said there's the scaling on the side of this double AD carry plus Rise comp is absolutely insane. Abarn's Roa isn't even fully stacked yet. We're still waiting on, you know, Kindred's second item. And Vayne, as you said, it looks like Ryoko is having a little bit of an identity crisis where she doesn't quite know where she wants to go. Because, like you said, got the Static Shiv, got the Essence Reaver. And, yeah, it looks like she's going more lethality from here. So definitely not a Triforce. But Sir Aaron, in his own jungle, just going to be able to get out of there no problem as the top outer finally goes down. So top inner going down for PPP, and then BMS responding with top outer. So the turrets are slowly falling, but I will say BMS is on a bit of a clock here because they cannot let the carries just sit there and farm. If the carries sit there and farm, you get to 35-40 minutes. This is going to be a rough team fight for BMS. They have to push the tempo, and it looks like they are.
Right, for sure. I mean, take a look at this topside siege, right? The far side alteration going down for literally no reason. I guess just wanted to take a look at the turret there. But I mean, yeah, you're absolutely correct, right? You have a Rise that still hasn't even fully scaled. You have a Vayne, which it's a Vayne, and then you have a Kindred, which, albeit not at very many stacks, still scales in her own right. And once again, right, the ornament's coming out. Critically here, the ornament, the first one, I believe, is definitely going to be, I mean, it has to go on Abarn, right? Literally no other carry champ on their team has bought a Mythic yet. So it's basically going to be the Abarn show here for the next couple of minutes to see if he's able to carry these fights. But, right, the Seraph's Embrace has been completed. The Roa is slowly getting there. I think there's just a lot of potential here for a fight to break out and actually get in the favor of PPP. But once again, right, you have IREP, who's flashing into the back, making those crazy plays, disrupting everything, and basically just being just a menace here in the backside. The carries can't play the game. As speaking of not being able to play the game, Sir Aaron's got to get the hell out of dodge of top lane. And yeah, I mean, like we said, Jaws, they're not out of this game yet. That ticking time bomb is certainly ticking away.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's probably going to go. The first ornament is probably going to go on to Abarn. But yeah, I think the big thing is, like, Ryoko needs to decide what she wants to be when she grows up, right? Is she going to be a bursty assassin that blows up squishies, or is she going to be a tank shredder? Because right now there's a lot of beef. There's a lot of beef that she's going to have to shred through, and she's not going to get a lot of free autos onto Speedy and Control. I don't care how short their ranges are. Like, they are. I mean, I'd say they're like mid-range champions. Control can rip it can rip some of those spheres deep, but like it has to get up close and personal. But as you said, as long as here comes Realm War. Let's see where he's going.
Okay, Abarn is just there, getting into that nook and cranny there, is now going to be flashing onto them. The Twisted Advance comes out, IREP forced to flash, as now we have a fight happening onto Microscopic Rick. Here comes the ultimate, boom, 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 finally getting the knock-up, not going to mean anything, unfortunately.
BMS needs to counter-engage, like, right now. They burned a lot of stuff for nothing, so they should go look for a counter-engage right now. And yeah, they're walking up. This is ironically where a speed boost, team speed boost, and there goes Control. That's exactly what they were looking for. Baron's about to spawn. This is what BMS needs to really crack this game open, and they are already on the way. Control being an absolute menace in this game too.
A little bit of not a little bit, a massive positional error there from Espen, thinking, yeah, I'm a tank, I can walk up here. Oh wait, I don't have any MR items. I mean, Control, say what you will, right? I mean, this team obviously has looked shaky in the past, but this dude is just throwing this game wide open here for BMS's favor. They are just going right into it, taking the Baron, and now they're going to be able to look to siege as here comes Microscopic Rick looking for the ultimate.
Right into a wall.
Yeah, right into a wall.
Oh man, that looks
unstoppable force meets a movable object.
So cool as he slammed into that wall. But no, they're not quite done. They're gonna look for something else. Let's see if IREP can go find something. But this is where they want to be. And remember, y'all, that Rift Herald slammed into that middle inhibitor turret. So once they're done with this dragon, they could start split pushing if they wanted to. They could just kind of walk up this mid side. There's a lot of different options, and as long as Control keeps making picks or IREP keeps setting up for picks, they're just going to be able to keep doing exactly what they want. And that Medjai's watch, y'all, 14 stacks. Holy moly.
Wow. Yeah, that dude is little fed, as the kids say, as Jazz Music now going to be using that Baron advantage to be able to try to potentially look for something onto the bot side. But Abarn is there, so he is able to get that free damage off and be able to just wave clear at his heart's content. As you know, now it's just a game of chess, right? You have the Baron buff, right? Now you're taking a look at what you have for items here. Ryoklu and Xayah are pretty much even at the current moment, right? Slight CS lead advantage in favor of Ryoklu. Mainly because the waves have been going to them, and you can see that all of the resources are now being funneled into Abarn and Ryoklu. So once again, right, we talk about that that ticking time bomb that's currently going down here for BMS. Void Staff critically completed here for Abarn. That is quite an important item.
It is in fact an item in League of Legends. As we see a pick onto Spurg. Spurg goes incredibly low, but they're not going to be able to take him out. And Control, once again, getting a max range scatter of the week and just setting his team up 29 minutes in. And they are sieging down this mid lane with Music split pushing and taking full advantage of this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, here it is, the Fated Cannon minion right there in the back. You see it right there, just doing all that deep to the turret. Now here comes the inhibitor. Right, Spurg potentially looking for something. He's walking in, potentially looking for something on to Cassante or looking.
He is
for
in
vision.
fact right-clicking in a direction at this very moment.
Yeah, he certainly is. And
yeah,
it's actually running Jazz Music.
Yes.
Okay, apparently. Oh my goodness, Jazz actually gets out of there. I was actually just gonna call it right there and say, all right, yep, Jazz pretty much dead. 0-1-6, add to the tally. 0-10 power spike coming in. But critically, Spurg is actually wasting Jazz's time right now, or you could actually say vice versa. Oh, the feet work, the footwork there of the shield is now a fight breaks out in the top side. Ryoklu free hitting. Watch Ryoklu. This is very important as Speedy Bandito is on a killing spree. All eyes have to be on this Vayne, right? This Vayne could do a ton of damage if left unchecked. Control trying to get that ball down. Here comes the twisted advance. IREP once again into the back line there as Abarn is inevitably going to die. It's a shutdown for Speedy Bandito. It's Ryoklu going to get absolutely blown to smithereens. BMS is taking this game in full force. Ladies and gentlemen, it potentially could be the cleanest 2-0 BMS will be able to set their sights onto the Nexus turrets, and that's pretty much all she wrote. ladies and gentlemen, a masterclass in the mid lane. Control looking to get another, and there is your game right here, right now. BMS taking PPP 2-0.
Yeah, that's going to be a clean 2-0 for the Beautiful Mutant Sausages, creating not only a 4 seed for the playoffs, but also just kind of a mental and emotional setup against Penguin Pajama Party, who they're going to have to play again in those playoffs. So, wow, great play, especially on the side of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. But who do you think is going to be our MVP for this series?
I mean, if it's not Control, I mean, who is it, man? Like, Control just absolutely just grabbed the game, just said, hey, this is mine all the way through this entirety of this series, and just took control. It must be, that must be why he named himself Control, right? This dude literally just took the game, said, this is mine, and just destroyed it in both games. So
this was definitely his now, so we'll get Control in here to talk about his absolute domination. The swing. Sorry. Oh, it's his. It's also his birthday. All right.
It's Control's birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. MVP. You have obliterated in game 1 on Swain, and then controlled game 2 because I couldn't help myself. How you feeling about the series?
Yeah, I'm not going to leak the DMs, but A-Barn said he was going to leave LeBlanc up for my birthday, but I still shafted him when he didn't. But anyways,
good.
Team played well. I pressed R on Ryoclu. I hope she liked that. We just had fun.
Yeah, it was great. I did want to call out, one of my favorite plays was you surviving the 1v2 and getting the return kill onto Spurg. It was just fun to watch, just dodging it and surviving as long as you could and just getting enough spheres out. But in terms of that series, let's talk about the Swain game, game 1. What was the strategy going into that? I don't think we've seen you play Swain this season. And how did you kind of adjust your play style based on what they were bringing in terms of the opposition?
Okay, so I don't want to give away the draft secrets, but we totally weren't going to Swain mid. However, it came down to where we put it mid.
Okay.
So I don't want to give any secrets away.
I think I know where he was gonna go, but I won't tell anyone.
Places.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Who would have think? It's not like you have someone on your team who just plays ridiculous champions in a role that they're probably not supposed to play in. But yeah, whatever. It's fine. We all knew he was going mid.
Hey, Speedy plays it. Irip plays it. Music play. Oh, I'm giving all the secrets.
That's
yeah,
true,
we called that out in cast. I had said that it potentially could go top, mid, bot, or support. And I mean, in your hands, Control, it looked very, very clean. A very scary champ, and probably one that's probably going to be banned for the rest of the season. I'm not saying that I'm going to ban it, or our team's going to ban it, because obviously you're playing I'll take mid on the other side. But yeah, man. I mean,
True.
you absolutely just.
It doesn't work on good mid laners, so it was really.
Oh,
okay.
Yikes!
Got it. Yep. Okay. Good.
Oh.
Yeah. That you've earned yourself a PowerPoint slide for that one, Mister. So you better watch out. Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about this game too. So Syndra, you went, for lack of a better term, bananas. I believe you ended with 16 Magi stacks. But in the early game, it looked like you were just kind of settling in. You got a lot of early pressure. Where do you feel like the game turned, where you were able to kind of crack the game open and just dominate in these fights?
I just had to get to that Syndra point where I can just set up multiple E's in team fights and then ult down a priority target. That's all we had to wait for. Now, it was a little sloppy early, but we caught back up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, half the battle is, when things aren't quite going your way, how do you stay in the game and then take advantage of the opportunities? And you absolutely did that. Any call-outs for your teammates throughout this series, and then anything for your adoring fans on your birthday? Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Love you all. My team's great. A-Barn sucks. And you all have a good night.
All right. Control, thank you so much. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Go celebrate with your team.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, Jaws that game was clinical. Both games absolutely were clinical. I mean, it's so hard to play against such a talented player, right? Being able to take champions, and especially like Control had said, right, having that little bit of a draft confusion, being like, okay, the Swain's actually going to go in this position, but wait, maybe it looks better here actually.
Yeah.
So,
What a
being able
privilege.
to
Yeah.
adapt like that is one of the defining traits, I believe, and what actually makes a good player. Not only in just solo queue, a competitive play, and especially in TCL, right? Being able to have that adaptation, being able to take a look at your team composition, seeing the enemy's team's comp from what you know, and being like, hey, it actually might be better here. And it turns out that it was, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, great stuff from BMS. They are looking absolutely clean going into playoffs, which, by the way, like you said, having a little bit of a higher seed currently going into it. So
Yeah, they're gonna be the 4C, which means they're gonna have pick priority, which is huge in a best of 5 series. So, and they are gonna be in a rematch with PPP. So there's definitely a double-edged sword of kind of playing each other right before the series, because you get to see a lot of what they're potentially bringing to the table, especially in an extended series where you really got to dig a lot deeper into your bag of tricks the longer these series go. On the other hand, there's always that advantage of knowing, right, the confidence of knowing, hey, we kind of whooped these guys the last time we played them. And so there's a lot of that. So it could go either way, but the pick advantage, knowing like, hey, we're going to pick blue side or red side, that just allows you so much power in that series, and allows them to kind of implement their draft strategy a lot more than if they were the lower seed. So really excited to see. They really are my dark horse for this tournament, the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. They have all of the skill in the world, and it's just a matter of kind of putting it together and making the right macro plays that they need to make at the right time, making sure their drafts are clean. If they put it all together, I absolutely think they can make a run to the finals.
for sure. I mean, we played them last week, like I had mentioned, and they are a really tough team. They are. They are. I mean, obviously, we everyone saw it. I mean, I guess I could talk about this. Uh, we had a lot of failed dives, attempts, a lot of bad plays, and these guys are incredibly good at punishing them. Right? They're very good at seeing an opportunity of the slightest margin, the slightest little inch, and they will go a mile. So
Oh yeah.
very awesome to see them perform this game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning into TCL Season 7. My name is Toasty. This is Jaws. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you all tomorrow, where my team plays against Team Snake. So it'll be fun.
Wow. So hype. So
It
hype.
is
I'm
hype.
going to hype it up. This is the match of the series. Y'all should show up tomorrow. We've got two teams that I believe are still undefeated, and they have just been blasting through this league, and they are finally going to clash like the Titans they are. Y'all should show up tomorrow, watch this series. It's going to be hype. Back to you, Toasty.
It'll be a banger for sure. Be able to make sure you tune in at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. There will be a 30-minute delay on the match, but that's okay. More time to get the speculation going, more time to get the hype going. And I'm excited to have this match. I respect everybody on the opposing team. And it'll be a fun clash. So I'm super excited to get it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And we will see you tomorrow. Take
And
care.
also shout out Hippogriff on production. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Hippo.